Welcome to the Last Drop podcast. I'm your host, Sean, and today I have a very, very, very special guest.
Oh, so nice.
Felipe, he works at Meadowlark Coffee in Gainesville, Georgia, and one of the best baristas I know.
Oh,
super sweet guy.
Appreciate you.
Dude, I appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate that.
You're my first official guest. That would be.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And so, even Benjamin hasn't even gotten.
Yeah, the sponsor, Benjamin, the sponsor hasn't even gotten an interview.
Bro, it's so funny. We worked together even at Kodo, and we still. It's so funny. He lives literally right upstairs.
Yo, you gotta come downstairs and do your interview. Come do a promotion video. Yeah, like
something.
Yeah.
But bro, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
So let's start off the episode.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get in coffee?
Uh-huh.
And what is your typical order when you go into a shop?
Oh, yeah. The last one's a little hard, but I guess it varies. But I guess I'll start how I got into coffee. I started working at Starbucks during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Because it was my first job. So
during COVID, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Because I took a gap year before entering college. So I was like, well, my mom was like, you cannot go to college during COVID. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess I won't. And I got a job. Well, it's funny. She got me a job at Starbucks because she was like a regular. And
that's funny.
Like she would come to the drive-thru and like everyone knew her.
Yeah.
And like she would talk to like the baristas and they'd be like, oh, we need someone to work here. And then she was like, oh, my son will work here. Oh my God. Originally I didn't want to. I was like, I don't really know I need a job right now, but I started working there and at first it was like, I'm just gonna get some money. Like it's cool. I'm not really worried about the whole coffee aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I was like these people ordering frappuccinos, like I'm not trying to make all these refreshers. Like, yeah. But after a while, I started like having regulars. Like I was there like a year, right? And I started having like the regulars and like people that were interested in like what we were doing behind the bar, right? Like actually a process of like, how I don't understand how the coffee gets to the latte. Like how do you make a shot of espresso into a latte? Or how do you steam the milk? Like how do you make a frappuccino even? Like, taking people through that process, like when you're taking their order. They're like, what is a Java chip frappuccino? And I'm like, well, there's all these steps to it. And I think that's what I really got drawn in by, like kind of the explaining things. I guess I'm a mansplainer, but like I like explaining things of like how it's done and, I guess explain my job. But after a while there, Starbucks has their own version of a barista competition, right?
Really?
Yeah. So like, but it's like Starbucks only. Right, like it's different stores.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I need to know what to do. So I look it up, and everything I found was just specialty USC barista competitions, right? So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll watch this. But it was like nothing like what the Starbucks one is. But then I was like, they're doing nothing like what I'm doing. This is really different. And I was confused, and they're like pouring latte art and stuff. I'm like, what is happening? So I was like, okay, I guess I gotta look into this a little more. So then I got into like the YouTube rabbit hole, right? Like James Hoffman, Lance Hedrick, all those people that are like super big on like, I guess YouTube, coffee YouTube. I guess you could call it like specialty coffee YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I make the really stupid financial decision to get an espresso machine because I was like, it's not gonna work if I don't practice, right?
Yeah.
So the first espresso machine I got was a Rebel. It was the Bambino.
Yeah.
And I paired it with a blade grinder, which was awesome. And then I was like, why is this not working? And I guess I don't want to say it's my OCD because I don't know if I have OCD, but I'm like, my determination to get it right, I was like, I need to spend more money. I need to keep going.
You gotta invest. You're already deep into it at this point.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I already spent like $300 some. Like, I need to figure out why this is not working. So then save money for a hand grinder. Then the Bambino was not up to my standard. I was like, I returned it. I went to Bed Bath & Beyond. I was like, yo, this ain't working.
Went to Bed Bath & Beyond?
Yeah. I was like, well, that's where I bought it originally because I had a big discount. And then I was like, hey guys, this isn't working for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I went within the return period and then I returned it. And then I got a Gajah Classic Pro. And that's when I was like, I'm gonna mod the heck out of this. And and then I just started modding it and the rest is history, I guess. That's how I got into specialty. But then I've been living in Gainesville for like 10 years.
Okay.
So.
I remember. Yeah, when we met, you told me that.
Yeah. So at first, obviously there was nothing, and then obviously Metal Arc started popping up and stuff. And when they were opening their brick and mortar, I was like, okay, this is awesome. I want to work there, but I didn't know how to get into it, and I had never been. Mm-hmm. So the first time I went, I got a cortado with like flavor or something because I didn't really understand coffee still, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but I didn't talk to anyone. Like I just went in there, and then the second time I bought a bag of coffee and JP was there, and you know how JP is with like talking to people about his bag of coffee, like he loves that.
He loves it.
Yeah. So and then he was like, oh, you DM'd us about working here, right? And I was like, yeah, that was me. And I guess from there I just started working in specialty, and then obviously that changes everything. Like once you start working in like an actual specialty coffee shop,
it's hard to go back.
Yeah, you're like entrenched in it at that point, like the industry. So I guess that's kind of the story. Also, my mom also got me that job, the Metal Arc job.
That's
shout out to mom. Shout out mom for getting me both my jobs.
Shout out.
Yeah. After I went in there and JP was like, okay, yeah, just text me on Instagram again and we'll kind of figure it out. My mom went in there, I think a couple days later or a day later, and JP poured her a heart on her holiday spice latte. She was like, "Oh, my son can do that."
No way.
she was like, I guess she probably saw that I was excited that I probably talked to the owner, and she was like, "I gotta get my son this job." So she put a good word in, and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of the story, I guess. I plan to keep coffee as my hobby for like the rest of my life at least, and if I can make it a career at any point, I think I would. Like I did for sure.
Because you're studying political science.
Yeah, it has like nothing to like you would expect me to like study agriculture or something, but no. That's like my other like niche interest, like we all have those niche interests that we kind of gear towards, and I guess for me it's politics and coffee. And I actually think they're interconnected a lot more than people think.
Really?
Yeah, especially when you're talking about specialty coffee, things like farm labor and like, the politics of how things get here, like shipping and production and all that.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Because now I would love to get your opinion on just what all that's going on.
Yeah.
With, in particular, agriculture, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's more in-depth things we can go into, but like, especially when it comes to like the agriculture perspective, even at this point, especially Coffee Association, FCA went to Congress and like is going to put in a exemption for all ag.
Yeah.
Because like, who's gonna raise coffee in America? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to have coffee here. It doesn't work. It won't grow.
Yeah.
So that's good. By the way, we're having Craftsman Honey Ethiopia #sponsor.
Shout out.
#ad. But yeah, I think there's a big issue with us not recognizing that the foreign labor that we like get our coffee from is what grows it. Like that's why we have all these consumer things that we consume every day. And yeah, I think it's like deeply entrenched. Also, like a lot of things with like social justice and stuff like that. I think gender in coffee is a huge thing as well. Like there's the whole non-binary barista meme, like that. And that's like so real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess.
Or you go to a coffee shop and they've got tattoos.
Yeah, you don't have tattoos and a nose ring. Like you're not gonna make me a good coffee. So yeah, I think all of that is definitely interconnected, and maybe that's why I got into it. But
that's really cool. No, that makes a lot of sense thinking about it now, especially like with like all the tariffs and like you talk about just the different aspects into it. Especially even like from political stance of like East Coast, West Coast sometimes.
Yeah.
I say this all the time, and I have a lot of friends now on the West Coast and the East Coast now. Yeah. And I'm like, some of the things that they're doing are like Portland, Seattle, California.
Yeah.
Even some things, honestly, when I was in Texas, I'm like, we're not really doing this. A lot of shops are not doing this in the East Coast, unless you are an Atlanta shop. I would say Atlanta is one of the forefronts, like Atlanta and New York.
Atlanta, New York, yeah.
Atlanta, New York, but like it's really hard to find it on the in-betweens.
Yeah, right. Like you go up like I mean, I guess North Carolina, you have some in there. And
I mean, you go to Asheville.
Yeah, Asheville, but
Florida has some.
Florida has a couple.
Shout out to Deeply.
Deeply Coffee, I've never been there.
Or downtown Orlando. Homie, it's the best shop in Florida.
Nice, that's sick. Yeah, I've seen some in Miami, but in Miami, it's hard because they're appealing to the Miami audience, and I feel like they're like, I just want a latte with
you mean a Cuban shot?
Yeah, or I need to go swim, I need to go tan, I don't know what it is. Yeah, but it has a lot to do with demographic, right? And I think the people in the West Coast care so much more about where their stuff is coming from, what am I consuming? Tell me all about it. And I think that's why the market kind of started in Seattle for a lot of it. Yeah. Especially going back to when I guess Starbucks opened and they were second wave and stuff, and they kind of brought the third place idea into the coffee thing. I think even then they were most popular in Seattle, and then obviously New York. And I think those two places are kind of what kicked off the whole I want to sit at a coffee shop and work and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Because it's better than what I can make at home.
Yeah. What's also crazy, I guess, transitioning also into the shop perspective. Mm-hmm. When you say the second way people want to start hanging out.
Yeah.
At the shops now. Mm-hmm. Right? And, or me, Micah, and Tyler come in Bay Mellark.
Yeah.
And we're there for 4 or 5 hours.
Uh-huh.
And then we're actually working. We're hanging out and talking. But
yeah.
We're actually out working.
Yeah.
And it's just I think it's crazy how much of community coffee brings.
Oh, absolutely.
So with you even being at Starbucks, because, contrary to what people might think of Starbucks and stuff like that now, right? And and what the company is now, or even places like Dunkin' and stuff like that. But even places like the Starbucks and Meadowlarks and Valor's and Chrome Yellow and all these places that people go to hang out.
Yeah.
Speaks I guess I want to hear your thoughts on that as well. Your thoughts on the community aspect of coffee, because you say you went from the second wave now to the third wave. Yeah. Right. And so what are the differences you see? But honestly, and also too, what are the things in coffee that you're whoa? I met some really dope friends through this.
Oh, for sure.
I can go hang out and talk.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
So the first thing I noticed is that people transition with me. Because a lot of the people that I served at Meadowlark or at Starbucks go to Meadowlark. Right?
Wow.
Also, I mean, we live in a relatively small place. I get it, but
kind of.
Yeah, it's growing, but I think it's still very community driven.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, seeing someone go from being a regular at a drive-thru chain to coming to Meadowlark almost daily, getting into coffee, and I'm supporting small business, stuff like that. I think that there's definitely a connection there. Starbucks laid the groundwork, but we're letting them transition over to the other market or whatever. I think there's definitely an interconnectedness there.
Bro. Especially me going over to Ballard, and because Dunwoody is a kind of a random obscure city to me, and a lot of people consider that once you hit Dunwoody, they consider that Atlanta.
Yeah,
and just the people that come over from the second wave shops, even the local second wave shops.
So there's a Starbucks right there, is there not?
Yeah, literally right next to it. And so, and there's a line at the door.
Yeah.
From for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, man.
And I just think it's cool that even the questions that people will have, they look at especially I would say because Valor was my most recent, right? And so before me launching this and stuff, people looking at the menu and they looking at coffee nerd menu.
Yeah.
And they see long black.
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that?
And I I have joy and I get to share this experience with you.
Yeah.
Because coffee is fun.
Of course.
Coffee is dope.
Yeah.
I mean?
And I think for me, I have this idea that if you're not putting effort into your customers, you're not a barista. You really are not. Because if someone comes in, right, like, and they've never been to a specialty shop, they see single origin espresso, they see drip coffee, 2 drip coffees, 1 blend, 1 single origin, like,
see the X in the back.
Yeah, they see the X in the back, like, what is that? Yeah, they see the EK, it's like, what are you doing with that?
Yeah.
And then you have a fridge full of like sparkling water and like kombucha, and it's like I can see how that's overwhelming to people, right? And then you have flavors, and like you have a regular menu, but people are immediately drawn to the stuff they've never seen.
Yeah.
So like, this hasn't happened to me personally, but I've heard stories where like people are like, okay, I love caramel macchiatos.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of this single origin espresso.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get a single origin caramel macchiato, and then like your job as a barista is to not be like, yo, I think you're dumb. Like, why would you ever think about that, right? Your job is to make that person feel welcome, regardless of them making a decision that doesn't quite make sense, right? Because, I mean, if you don't have to pay for it, don't pay for it. Like, and you know, it won't change your drink that much. Like, I think educating people on those ideas, like, I know this is new to you. Let me explain exactly what it is and why we do this, and why it won't work with what you want. Right? Without making them feel like they're unwelcome, because that is such an easy way to drive away people from our industry. And I think that's something you talked about in the first episode, which is like the disconnect of people like not knowing what to do at shops, like not knowing what to order, not knowing you know, how to get around a menu. And I think that's the biggest job a barista has, is to help people navigate the shop that they're in. And sure, you're making drinks, you're cleaning, but the main thing is to help your customers leave happily, right?
Yeah. That's so funny you say that, because I want to hang it on the hospitality side of coffee, and then I want to talk about just like the life of a barista.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like I tell people all the time, I don't really have a talent. My talent is people. Yeah. That's what I care about, the peopleness. And like, if my skill set can bring something to somebody, that's what I'm good at. Yeah. Right. And so like, yes, have I been in the creative industry and now the coffee industry for a while now? Like, yes. And like, it's cool that I can play piano, all these things. Yeah. That's all cool. But like, I don't know, just the way my brain and my heart's wired, if that can't benefit the next person or teach that next person that the skill set or the heart of that, or like even bring joy to that person, because that's happened to me so many times, where and I don't know, and I've had a couple people tell me like you seem safe to ask questions to. Yeah. And I would say when I was at Phoenix Roasters, when I was at Coffee That Matters, the guy, he's 56 years old. Yeah. He walks in. He's like, hey, I just started getting into coffee. I've been drinking Starbucks for, 20 years, 30 years. I said, yeah, that's great. I mean, like, coffee's great. Coffee's good. And he's like, no, but like, I just bought, he said, I just bought a Lawnmower Zocco Mini.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I said, huh? He said, yeah. And then I bought a master grinder, like a home grinder. I said, okay, so you really trying to get into coffee? Yeah, yeah. And he said, yeah. And like, I just realized how fun it is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I got to like walk him through beans. Okay, it's like, well, okay, when people are talking about light, medium, and dark, what do they mean? And like how now even in third wave, the difference in third wave, second wave now is just like, technically everything's light roast, and everything they're just trying to pull out certain palette for different. So like if someone says they want dark, they want to gear towards the chocolate. Yeah, right. Chocolate and coffee is like Kenya, Rwanda and stuff. And so, but to be able to like sit, and I even did like a cupping with it. Like I even took some of the beans that we had. It was like, I'm gonna just do a cupping with you right here because I have time. Yeah. And like that was so special for him. And like to see the grow it and like glow in his eyes and be like, yo, this is cool. This is cool. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. And so like, I just think hospitality has to be in the forefront now in coffee.
Absolutely.
Especially with the prices going up.
Yeah, I agree. Like you have to stand out somehow, right? But I think there's that side of it, right? And then I think there's also a side where it's like, you want your iced latte? Cool.
Yeah.
Here you go. How's your day? Like, you know, what's the life update? You know, stuff like that. I think that's like the complete other side of it. You know, and like my girlfriend's going to med school, and you know Riley Whitmore, and she I probably shouldn't reveal information, but shout out Riley. Like they, because she comes in every day, right? Like we make her a latte, and she is always updating us about how her school is going, and like she's also in the healthcare industry, so you know. Then my girlfriend comes in and they're able to connect about that, right? So it's like building that connection with a customer eventually builds connections with other people.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I would have never met Tyler, who's one of my best friends now, if it wasn't for my job. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I think all of what coffee encompasses is a sense of community. I think that's the first thing at the forefront, but also like being a barista, like you said, hospitality has to be at the forefront because or else you're not able to build that community, right?
Yeah. And then they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And then you go out of business. No, you know, it was just like on the funny part. Yeah. But, bro, life of a barista.
Yeah.
You are probably one of the best people I've seen behind the bar to be able to connect. So, like, let's speak on life of a barista and, like, well, why do you have the passion you do when it comes? And just, like, and what would you say to the baristas that, you know, complain too much about their job.
Yeah. We were talking about this earlier. I mean, baristas who complain about their job. Your job is easy, bro. You talk to people and make them drinks. Like that's what you're doing. And I understand, like, you have to mop the floor, but like, all right, cool. But you get to do all these other cool things, and your customers pay you. You know what I mean? Like they tip for a reason because like they know you are there providing them a service, and they don't have to do that. Right? Like they really don't have to do that.
All.
Yeah, and I've seen people like grab beans, I talk to them for 2 seconds and they tip and I'm like, what are you doing? Right? Like I did not do almost anything for you. Yeah. And like seeing that appreciation coming from the other side is what drives me to be like, okay, I need to put effort into this. You're like funding my life right now. And it's not solely like the money aspect of it necessarily, but it's also like, you know, being a good person, like appreciating that that's there for you and like, you know, making sure that you're keeping that with you instead of, you know, taking it for granted. I think that's one of the biggest things.
You never know where those relationships are going to, go.
For sure.
Like, I think it's so funny you say that because there's some shops. I would judge a shop when I go in. I judge on how, okay, this is going to be picky, but it's because But I walk in, I listen to how they steam the milk.
Yeah.
I look at their menu and I see how nice the baristas are.
Of course, yeah.
Because I'm like you said, it's not that hard.
It really isn't. And like being intentional about your job isn't hard because, you know, you just have to be. Because like if you're working at Starbucks, you know, it's like a huge corporation. It's like working at like Target and not stocking the shelves or something. I get it. But if you're in a specialty coffee shop and like it's a small business, like you're not only funding the people that own the shop and their living, you're funding your own living, and you're also providing a service for someone. So I think at that point, it's sort of like, how do you entrench yourself enough to where like you're not going overboard with the people, right? Like you're not trying to drag them in, but also be nice enough and like, you know, like you say, be intentional about how you steam your milk, like be intentional about how you greet people, stuff like that. Is definitely 100% like the most important part, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. That's so good.
Yeah,
that's so good. I think when I went to Expo, and like you can even at Expo in the Roasters Village, you can tell the shops, in my opinion, that are really successful in their area.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know, because obviously, Valor invited me to do some stuff in their booth, and and they're probably one of the most successful like coffee businesses in Atlanta with Academy, because Academy was there.
Oh yeah.
And and then and like even like some baristas from and the owner the owner from Cafe FYI was there.
Okay.
And like doing stuff with Hollander chocolate, and then you have like so you can tell like when they're there, or like the Colombian, they are a coffee shop in Canada in Edmonton.
Oh wow!
Right, they have like 6 locations, and so but you can just tell because of the hospitality front, it separates them.
Yeah, and who's like doing things like I said intentionally, like.
And listen, I love Gainesville.
Yeah.
But there is a reason why Matlock is the number 1 shop.
Oh, for sure.
And yes, does he have the best baristas in all the world? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, with you, Justin, Catherine, like right. But like the hospitality front.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, it's just like taking an extra mile. When I come in being the annoying coffee nerd, and you guys will like pour me a Swan and Cortado, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like, that's like my new text is gonna be 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, even like then going in, I could pick on Joshua, right, and stuff like that, and like.
I love how you mentioned you have the best baristas, Catherine, Justin, you, and then I can pick on Joshua.
I love Joshua. He's so good. And and then going in there, and I know I can like. Sometimes I do avoid Matlock because it depends on how much work I have to do. Like if I know if I'm home, because I go in, I'm like,
it is a small space. Like you're gonna get interrupted a couple times at least.
Because I'm like, the 5 people come in, I probably gonna know 3 of them. You know?
Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's what community. That's what happens with community. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's great, but sometimes you just need to go like a city or 2 over. I gotta lock in. You know?
Yeah, you gotta go like. And I'm just funny because I even know I know a lot of people in like a lot of shops because I just go there and I hang out. So sometimes I would go to Cuss Coffee in Dawsonville. It's only 20 minutes away, but like I know I can just talk to baristas because I know them. I know Isaiah and Gracie and them. And I can go sit down and I'll get my lock in.
Yeah. And it makes sense like that, and that's why different spaces matter and why like it's not necessarily a competition, but it's like, if you need that, you can go there, and if you need this, you can go here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about this because I know you are a traveler, right? You
a little bit, yeah. I do love traveling. If I had more money, I would travel. But
I know, like you and Catherine, like you can go like different places together and stuff like that.
For sure, yeah.
And so, when you go to a coffee shop. How do you order, or like especially if it's new? Let's just the scenario is like you've never been to this coffee shop before, right? But it's a good spot. You've heard a lot of good things about it. You've seen their Instagram, the whole nine. You go in the coffee shop. How are you ordering?
Okay, I think the perspective of a barista is a lot different because I do my absolute best not to be pretentious, right? Because I go in there, I see like 3 different coffees on pour over. I'm like, I want to ask 20,000 questions. And it's like, I would love to know exactly like what the farmer's name is that produced this coffee, but do I really need that, or should I be like, how do you like this? Right? Or should I be like a little more of a normal customer? So I guess I approach it like trying to be as nice as possible to my baristas, right? And I go in there and I'm like, okay, do I want milk? Do I want black coffee? That's the first thing I'm like, that's the first thing I'm thinking about. Or do I not want coffee at all? Do I want matcha? Do I want a soda? I don't know, like something, right? So I guess that's the first question I ask myself. And then if I'm looking for black coffee, I always look at pour overs. I tend to look at bags first every time I walk into a shop, which is I guess interesting because I guess I don't know if it's just me trying to look like I know what I'm doing, but it's also like I think it's also like I want to see like what these people are up to. What are you drinking? What are you like? Why are you putting things on the shelf? Like, is this cool? Is this not cool? That kind of stuff. And then seeing that same coffee on the menu, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm ordering. That's the first thing. I guess with milk, always start with be like, I don't know, I want a cappuccino. Always say the milk. Never be like, I want a cappuccino. Don't do that. Like, and this is like general advice to everyone. Even when you go to Starbucks, don't be like, don't be like, I want a cappuccino, because they're gonna make it with 2% milk, and that's not very good.
Are they really?
Yeah, that's their default.
2%.
Yeah, it's because it's cheaper. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's why.
Is it cheaper?
I'm not really sure. They just do 2%.
Maybe nowadays it could be. Actually.
It could be. I don't know, but
because that cow milk is gold.
Oh yeah, man. But that's their default, right? And obviously they have drinks where like they have default oat, right, or whatever. But like every time you go into a shop, make sure if you're getting a drink that has milk and you know it has milk in it. If you don't know it has milk in it, oh well. But you know it has milk in it, always say your milk. Always. It makes not only your barista's life easier, but it makes your life easier because you don't have to answer. Yeah, and it also it prevents you from getting lactose intolerant people. Like if you don't know, well, I guess that's the people that often are like, I need oat milk. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I guess that advice doesn't go as much to these people. But if you don't want dairy that day, be like, I want a non-dairy option, and then they'll give you the options as well. So
I do that. Yeah. Well, I do that if I don't want dairy that day. Yeah. I don't drink almond milk just because I don't like the texture of almond milk. Unless it's like colorful or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I said that wrong, didn't I? Probably.
Khalifa? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you say it.
It's probably Khalifa.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure.
Low key, I would drink the almond milk. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I do ask what kind of almond milk they're using. Mm. because I have healthy, I have some health issues.
Yeah.
And and I have to be sometimes careful of okay, minor figures doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. They're a really good oat milk brand, mm-hmm. but minor figures doesn't bother me, and I also like the taste. Mm-hmm. And then but if it's they have a different brand that I can get easily a Walmart or something.
Yeah.
I probably won't. Mm-hmm. I'll probably just screw it. I'm just gonna get dairy.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, people's whole milks are gonna be good.
Yeah.
And so I'm very similar in that of when I go to a coffee shop, especially if I'm going there doing a review. Mm. If I'm doing a review, I want to see what their specialties are, and I want to because most of the time, most shops nowadays roast their own coffee.
Right.
Which low-key I don't understand. I kind of wish there were more multi-roasters out there.
The concept I really like that I saw in LA when I went to Dayglow is they have their boxes and then they have other things.
Well, I like that.
And that's awesome. That is amazing. Because if you're okay, I love what they're doing. I tasted this. It's awesome. I'll bring it in addition to what I already have.
Well, it's just I don't know. This is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. But is coffee competitive? Yes. Because there's so many.
Yeah.
But just because we have 4 or 5 coffee shops in downtown Gainesville. Mm-hmm. But all can be successful in their own because of the vibe, the kind of coffee. Because there's so many different varieties of coffee now.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I just believe you can have my dream obviously is to open a brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Benjamin. I was like, well, my concept I want Craftsman the house coffee.
Yeah.
I want Craftsman to quality control. Mm-hmm. Right. Every time they come in, they know if they don't want to be exploring in different options, they know they can get a redwood. They know they can get Trusty Dusty. They know they can get whatever options that we Craftsman's going to offer. Mm-hmm. Right. In Honduran coffee or whatever, or Colombian. And it's always going to be good.
Yeah.
Right. But I also want to be able to be I want to bring in the free hats, the Dayglows, the touchies. Because also showcase just what coffee can be. Right. Especially fruitcake.
Yeah.
Touchy's fruitcake is
Dude,
insane.
Coffee is wild.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
And so because sometimes in roasting, I'm because I'm learning this with Benjamin, watching him and him teaching me some stuff. I'm just there's just so many techniques to it, and not everybody can do everything. And
that's true. That's very true.
And so that's my thing, especially when I go into when I go to a shop, I'm okay. I'm usually going to get a cortado because I know one is you're going to steam my milk right, and two is you're going to are you dialed in right?
Yeah.
Right, and so because one. Right now, at least right now, I'm not going to go to a shop I won't host a shop that I won't actually drink and go to. Right now. I will probably expand upon hey, this isn't my palate, but I can see somebody.
Yeah. Right.
But Yeah, that's been dope. What's your other like big coffee like hot take right now, or like things you've been like seeing?
Yeah,
industry, barista, it don't matter. Like
all these co-ferments are cool, but but like, all right, and maybe this is me roasting the process or something, but like, it's cool. You're trying to make like, make it taste like Fruit Loops. That's awesome. I think it's cool. But like, don't put out a 300-gram bag of it. Like, what are you doing,
brother? And it's $50 for this.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Just put it in like a 100-gram bag, or like even a 50-gram. Like,
grams.
Yeah, and be like, this is awesome. Try it. And I would buy it every time. But putting like this like crazy like co-fermented coffee, like I've had some that are like wildly good, right?
Yeah.
Like there was Black and White. They did the peach co-ferment.
Bro,
that coffee is insane. Like I've never had a coffee that tastes like that, right?
Really like a peach.
Yeah. So I could drink that constantly.
Yeah.
And I understand why you would put that in a 300-gram bag. But if you're putting like something that tastes like, I don't know, like you're drinking an IPA, right? Like they have a hazy IPA.
Yeah.
Or they had it before.
Yeah.
I would not drink that every day. I don't see why you need a 300-gram bag of that.
I just gonna go get a beer at that point.
Yeah, like go get drunk. I don't know. Like I swear, like you do not need that at 10 in the morning.
No.
Like you don't.
No.
So
bro.
Yeah.
That's a 1,000%. 1,000%. And I like funky coffee.
Yeah.
But like I realized the more I say that, or like especially when I was like young into coffee, I was like, oh wait, I just mean like floral, like really like funky floral, fruity.
Uh-huh.
I don't like mean like I want my coffee to taste like a banana cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the thing is it has its place, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have it we have a special espresso that you can taste it in a cappuccino that tastes exactly like peach rings. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think that's sick and that's very innovative. But if you go and like sell, like as a roaster, if you like roast grams on grams on grams of, or I guess pounds on pounds of this co-ferment coffee, why? Like there's no market for that, man. Like you know that. And maybe I'm like completely wrong. Of course, I'm not on that side of business.
Yeah.
But I feel like I see people like turned away from coffee because of those things. They're like, oh, what? That's not what coffee is.
I do think, actually talking about that, I realized that hardcore going into like the roasting game, because Benjamin also, like, I know we're talking a lot about Benjamin, but shout out, he's a great guy.
Shout out, hashtag guy.
If you can meet Benjamin or Craftsman, listen, you got to. Like, I'm so serious.
Yeah, this honey Ethiopia is great.
Right.
It's my favorite Craftsman coffee.
Especially like hanging out with him.
Shout out Patty Lawson for the month.
Yeah, because he's been on the barista side, managed on the barista side.
Yeah.
And he's also been a roaster,
right,
and a tech. So he's been all over.
Yeah.
And so what I'm realizing is like, oh my gosh, like why is there such a disconnect between roasteries and coffee shops? I'm not talking about roasteries. Even roasteries that roast their own coffee, because 90% of the time, the roasteries workers, like the roasters and the packagers and the stuff, and then do their cuppings, are separate from their baristas.
Yeah, man.
And most of the time, and the roasters are usually not baristas.
Yeah, and like,
they don't know.
I mean, sometimes they've worked, but like that's not an exclusive. You know what I mean? Those are not mutually, like, you don't have to be a barista to be a roaster.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But like, I realized that, and like, shout out to Valor for this idea, actually. And shout out, like, when I was talking to Ethan, was that, like, they and Sam, and like, and their head roaster Sam, they try to encourage their baristas to go to the HQ, to their roastery, and do cuppings with them and stuff like that. Because they cup every Wednesday and Friday, and to taste for like defects and stuff,
of course,
and stuff. And or when they're bringing in something new, they get to try something new before it hits the shelves.
Yeah, and I think that's like a huge benefit to being a roaster, right? Like we were talking, like, I think you should include as many coffees as you can from as many different people as you can. But when you're a roaster, you get to do those things, right?
Yeah.
Like we get to bring like 20 different coffees in cupping at ML, right? And like all these samples, all these cool roasters. But I never get to be like in a room where things are being done.
Yeah.
Right? Like from the I guess the second step of the process, right?
Yeah.
I never get to see that. And I think being able to see that part of it definitely gives you a different appreciation. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I used to think that like roasting took like forever.
Yeah.
And then I looked and just like it took Benjamin, I think like 10 minutes to roast a batch. I was like, hey, like a 9-pound batch. I was like, that's crazy. First of all.
Well,
that's crazy.
If you're taking it to like third crack, I don't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot. Yeah, that's true. Like, if it's like light roast is only on first crack. So I'm just looking at, because I really enjoy talking to you. I think that like your opinion and your insight on coffee is really dope. I think it's really needed right now. And so,
thanks, brother.
What I would say, my next question would be, what is something that you looking forward to in coffee?
Yeah.
And then what was your most memorable coffee experience? Those are the two questions we're in.
Ooh, okay. I think I guess I'll start with what I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to the fourth wave.
Fourth wave?
Not to be pretentious, but I think third wave has been around a long time, right? Like you see Stumptown, you see all the original third wavers, and they've been bought out and stuff. Black and White got bought out. Like you're seeing the decline, right, of the third wave. Yeah. I think fourth wave coffee is going to focus so much more on what we were talking about today, the community aspect. Because I think third wave coffee shops do a great job, and I think specialty coffee in general has a lot more emphasis on that. But I think fourth wave is going to focus a lot more on the hospitality aspect. Like I think we're going to see Michelin-starred coffee shops. You know what I mean? Like I think it's going to be that crazy.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Maybe me and Benjamin need to hang out and talk, because like you actually love to hear this kind of stuff in that.
Yeah, I think it would be sick.
Yo.
Yeah. That's
hilarious you say that.
Yeah.
Like I ain't gonna share it here. No, for real. Like you need, like that's hilarious that you say that.
Yeah.
Because there's some ideas that me and him bounce off each other about like doing like experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a place where like the whole hospitality industry kind of gets interconnected, right? Like all these fine dining restaurants, they do the exact same thing we do, but with food, right? Yeah. So it's like
I just wish we didn't get graded like food.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think there's definitely an interconnectedness there, and I think the whole concept of fourth wave would probably encompass that. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. My most memorable coffee experience. I'm gonna have to say, like when I brewed a pour over at home, one of the first times I was like experimenting. I remember it was at Costa Rica, Las Lajas from Onyx.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I was like, I spent $40 on this bag or something with shipping. I gotta make this good. So I looked at Lifty and like his tutorial. They do tutorials for all their coffees, right? Yeah. Back in the day, he used to do. I don't know if he still does those, but I watched it. I followed every step. I tasted the coffee and I didn't like it. And I was like, so then the next day, then the next day I was like, let me try this myself. Yeah. So I adjusted. I did things that I thought, okay, let's see what this does, and then I loved it. So, and I was like, I can taste exactly what these people are saying.
Oh wow, because you did it your way. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So I think that kind of opened my eyes to like, wow, there's a whole nother aspect of this that I never thought about. You don't have to follow the rules. Yeah. You don't have to like F the rules, bro. Like there are no rules. Yeah. Right? The only rule is to make it taste good. And whatever tastes good to you is what matters, right? And that's why like we have single origins at Metal Egg, right? Like every time, well, most of the time right now we have a blend on drip. Most of the time it's a single origin. I'm not going to sit here and tell this person you have to have that blend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they may like it like that. It may taste like nuts and chocolate to them with the cream in there. So I'm not going to sit here and judge their palate. So I think that's what opened my eyes the most. That's the most memorable thing that has happened. It was very eye-opening.
Bro, it's been a pleasure sitting with you. We gotta have you on again.
Absolutely.
And like I do want to do like a barista like table talk.
Yeah, round table. I was about to say that would be fun.
Yeah. Because like we end up having some like a little bit of a heated discussion in Mel, like with like me and a couple of us.
Who?
It was like, you don't remember that? It was like me, you, Justin, and Joshua sitting around.
What?
I think he was talking about machines and stuff. We were talking about like
That's
different types of machines, with levers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, this would be a dope
That'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you
coming in and like,
thanks, man.
bro, we love coffee, love community.
Sure do.
And bro, yeah, man, just keep drinking coffee
Till the last drop. Yes, sir.
Cheers.